governor, comments made. And I want to see, from you, your opinion, how this is impacting River State development, the people, all of that. The 5 o'clock hour, the most talked about conversation right now in the country is regionalism. So we'll look at constitution amendment. You and I, once again, opinion poll, and I'd like to get your thoughts on what should be amended and what should not be. All right, so we'll look at all of that and talk for development. Remember, 6 o'clock hour is a recap hour. We'll do a recap of our conversations for the day, and we'll say our goodbyes. All right, quickly, what is my first big story? Rivers of politics. I should have captioned it that, but it didn't occur to me. Rivers of politics, indeed. So I woke up this morning. Oh, by the way, my phone got bad yesterday, so I really couldn't, do certain things. I had to rush to the office, and then the first news that hit me, the first news I saw when I opened the bulletin was that RISIEC had been ordered by a state high court to use the 2023 voters register. Now, I was amused, I was confused, and I had my opinions. And I had questions as well. For instance, I don't know, I may be wrong. After the 2023 elections, I thought the continuous voter registration, started or continued, whatever vocabulary you can use to describe it. And, I was wondering if it would not disenfranchise the people who turned 18 from the end of the elections up until now, or up until October the 5th. And while I was, deliberating and arguing and debating in my head as to, okay, it's an order of necessity given the fact that the Supreme Court has given a judgment and River State is trying to, abide with the order of that judgment. While I was arguing in my head, I came back to the office this afternoon, still without a phone, only to see that there is another court order from Abuja saying INEC should not use the 2023 voters register. Or rather, RISIEC, I keep saying INEC, forgive me for that. But I'm a little bit confused right now. And that's why I said I should have named it or tagged it or called it Rivers of Politics. And how is this affecting the development of Rivers? That would be a majority of my focus, the major focus on the show today. How is this? Because all of these back and forth, all of these arguments, all of these, issues, I don't think is what the common man wants to hear. The common man is hungry. The common man is buying petrol at an expensive rate. And, one would wonder that the leaders, whether opposition or whether the ones in government, would do what is necessary, to reduce the pain and anguish the people are suffering. Anyways, every week or every 2 weeks or every now and then we have this conflicting legal issues in the country. And given the fact that we now have a new substantive chief judge, Chief Justice, I hope that she will look into River State political brouhaha, because, oh my, it is one thing. it's something very, very, I don't know how to describe it anymore. But anyways, let's move on to the second big story. Oh, so another story that I saw, and this time on the Punch newspaper, it's the story of minimum wage. And I feel like this is good news. This is good news, even if, I don't know, I've got my reservations, but this is good news. 70,000 naira minimum wage. We were told last week that the federal government had begun payment. And I do think some civil servants at the federal level may have received on Thursday, or was it on Friday, Glory, glory, hallelujah. Some were singing, even if others were saying, oh, with the new petrol price, it is not hallelujah just yet, right? But then, states were yet to start payment. And we were told here in River State that River State was waiting for the template from the federal level, from the federal government. Now the template is out. River State is among 17 states that have now raised committees. I wonder why they're raising committees. It's just, to get the template, send it to the Ministry of Finance, wondering why they are raising committees. But I wonder what it will be like in River State. And I'm now looking at it from the angle of, enhancing the private sector so that the private sector can take a lot of this burden while, the public sector will look into very minimal what's it called, labor force, at the public level, while using the money that is in the hands of government to ensure their basic amenities. What do I know, really? But yeah, River State among 17 states, and we look forward to the payment. To it can, to an extent, help civil servants who are going through one ordeal or the other. Now, my final big story is about tomorrow. By the way, happy Independence Day to you. I know some of you are not happy about, how the country is traveling, but hey, freedom. We're celebrating freedom. Some of our brothers who are outside the country can tell you what it is like, to suffer some level of racism, or should I call it colonialism, even if some political scientists would argue that we in Africa still suffer some level of neo-colonialism. But we're not going to go into all of that big grammar and all. However, tomorrow being the 64th Independence Day, protesters would be possibly on the streets, the various streets across Nigeria, and they are saying no to bad governance. They are saying no to economic hardship. They are saying no to a lot of things because they have, a plethora of demands. And they're saying no to negotiations because they want their voices to be heard. They want their impact to be felt. And so to say, they will be on the street. So my big story has got to do with the police. The police across the 36 states and even in the FCT have decided to, deploy policemen to flashpoints in the various states to ensure that there is no breakdown of law and order. Now, I am scared. I would not lie. I am scared because the police is talking tough. The organizers are talking tough. In our local parlance, I no go green, I no go green, I am the tear sheds, right? That's what we say. So, I don't know. I'm thinking, and I'm asking this question. I asked it last week. I had a guest in the studio. We talked about it, and I'm asking again. Is this the right move? Is this the move to make? Looking at Nigeria at 64, are there things that we can look at and say, oh, we're counting our blessings? Which, by the way, is my conversation for tomorrow. We're going to count in blessings tomorrow. So are there things that we can look at and say, oh, okay, yeah, these are the things that we've achieved over the years and, help us navigate further. Anyways, police are deploying. Police are saying to go to flashpoints, points that may necessarily be hot zones during such protests as proposed for tomorrow. So I'd like to get your thoughts. We could have talked about the National Assembly. Maybe I should just add that one as extra. The National Assembly is trending. River State, of course, is trending as well. And the National Assembly is trending because, of course, very dark man, Bobrisky, I hear, Falana's son, popularly known as Fowles, were invited to the House of Reps, right? And I hear very dark man made one hell of an entrance, or should I say a very notable entrance. And some say the way he talked during plenary. May not have been, someone is arguing outside there, actually, outside the studio about that. Anyways, we could have talked about that one as well. But why we could have talked about it is because it was trending not too long ago that the National Assembly members did not want the media to cover it, and I'm wondering why they don't want the media to cover it. Because there was the report from the weekend that said RISIEC spent only about 3 months, is it 3 months or 3 weeks now? I can't remember. 3 was there, and only about 3 weeks or 3 months in jail, right? I think 3 weeks, if I remember vividly, 3 weeks. So this is a national issue, and Nigerians should know, and our representatives, the people who are representing us, who we pay their salaries, by the way, with taxpayers' money, exorbitant, we agree, but we pay them nonetheless. We need to know who the big man is that gave that order. Anyways, we could have talked about that one. We could have talked about what else again? The CNG buses donated to Labour. We could have talked about that one as well. We could have talked about what else? I'm trying to remember the stuff we could have talked about. But when I do remember, I'll bring it your way. Let's go to the phone lines for now. 0817 923 0002. 0817 923 0003. 0817 923 0007. It is 3:32 p.m. Hard Facts is what you're listening to. I am yours truly, Kalaida Batibor. Remember, we're live on Facebook. You can drop your comments therein. You can also, hook up on YouTube. Drop your comments therein. Or better still, interact with our media on X. All of the platforms. 90 or Nigeria Info PH. I beg your pardon, Nigeria Info PH. All right, let's go to the phone lines now. Who do I have here? 0817 923 0002, 0817 923 0003, and 0817 923 0007. I do hope that the call lines are working. Let's see. Please do call. And remember, you can send me WhatsApp messages to the numbers 0809 030 6416. So, I want to hear from you. Abuja High Court versus Rivers State High Court. That's what has been happening for months now. Abuja High Court will give, Rivers State High Court will counter. Rivers State High Court will give, Abuja High Court will. Anyways, let's get your thoughts. Oh, someone just corrected me. 3 weeks. So RISIEC was in cell or jail for just 3 weeks. All right, thank you very much. You didn't drop your name, but I do appreciate. Thank you very much. Just says, good afternoon, Canada. The order from the High Court in Abuja is a judgment. The competent court of jurisdiction gave a judgment as against just an order from the State High Court. Judgment is more binding. Asian Godwin. I don't know which is more binding, but we've had lawyers say orders, judgments. All from court, so they are all law or laws. I don't know. I've got Gift from Yenegua. Gift, welcome. What is on your mind? I'd like to hear from you. Hello, Gift. Are you there?
Good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon to you, Gift. Can you hear me?
Good afternoon. I can hear you clearly.
Okay, go ahead. Let's hear your thoughts then.
Yes, let me contribute concerning this Federal High Court judgment.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned, Palada, let me take your mind back because I have seen this over and over. Check the date of this very High Court of State. Surprise. People should be careful. When we are playing with the courts, we should be careful. You say 4th of September. Then on the 6th, you receive that order. In Rivers State, it will be known. Nobody was aware since 4th and 6th. But yesterday, Sunday, was the day that very order came out because you are aware that judgment will come today. And first of all, let me take us back again. There was order since July restraining another person. So why now go to state high court that does not have the jurisdiction? In anything INEC, they don't have that jurisdiction at all. appeal courts have already settled that. And this one is even a judgment. So whether I or not, I don't want to listen to anybody. What I know is that I told them, whether you jump from pillar to post, there will be no election. And if you decide to go ahead, federal government will not release cover to any fake chairman. Thank
All
you.
right. I don't think federal government will, I don't know. I don't think they want to dabble into it. They will let the courts decide. I don't think the federal government is the court. The federal government is just to execute, I guess. That's your job and responsibility, execute what the law is, right? So let's keep the calls coming in. The phone lines are still terrible, but let's keep trying. We'll weather the storm. This one says Justice Peter Leaf was taking over Omoto's show during the bidding of Judge Maxwell. That's an allegation, and I don't take allegations on the show, right? So I'm just going to let that one go. This one says Anonymous. Kalada, can you imagine how politicians have turned our courts into a playground and converted our judiciary into an amusement park? You're very right, Anonymous, very right. It's now a playground. It's more like a football match. Abuja versus, it's like a league, right? A football league. Abuja versus, how do I put it now? How do I tag it? Abuja High Court FC versus Rivers State High Court FC. So, yeah. It's more like a playground, like you've said. Clinton from Bury. Clinton, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Clinton.
It's rather very unfortunate that the courts have allowed themselves to be used as a playground for politicians. It's very unfortunate that an institution so sacred like that is being meddled with. How can you be giving conflicting orders? A high court in Abuja, before now, gave an order, a judgment rather. That judgment should be binding. But today we have seen another order coming up. That was yesterday on Sunday. It's very, very unfortunate that these people have ridiculed the whole system. Now, I want to commend the governor actually setting up the committee for the new minimum wage. The next thing is the payment. If this is done, it's kudos to the governor. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Clinton. Thank you for your thoughts. Yes, it's worrisome, like you said, but I've got Bright, and Bright is calling from Rumodumaya. Bright, what say you? What say you? I like to hear.
Thank you. One thing with Rivers State is that they just believe in... Hello?
I can hear you. Go ahead. The phone lines are working now. Go ahead.
They just believe in the court that in their jurisdiction, which is the Rivers State High Court. There was a judgment before now. There was a judgment for INEC not to release, for police not to secure the election, forthcoming election, and for INEC not to release any document for RISIEC to use. And before now, the Commission of Information has said it, or the RISIEC chairman, has said it, that before now they have collected those documents, that they have it. So how come the judge, we are also seeing another judgment that INEC should give them documents and police should also take care of the election by securing
Bright, can you hear me? Bright, it is not about giving them voters register. It's about use. No, we're talking about the use of the voters register. Okay, fine, you've taken the register, okay, but can you use it? I think that's the argument now in court. The State High Court is saying you can use it. The FCT High Court is saying you can't use it. So, I mean, that's where we are right now, right? So, Bright, I don't know if you get it.
They cannot use it.
Okay.
They cannot use it because anything that has to do with INEC comes from federal.
Oh, okay.
You understand me?
Okay.
So, they cannot use it. For me, I believe that election will not vote.
Okay.
So, they should just obey court judgment.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I've got Dota from Gokana. Madam Dota, it's good to have you. Let's get your thoughts, please.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Kalada. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Madam Dota.
Yes. Releasing register. Me, I'm saying that the Bible says that there is time for everything under the sun. Else we forget. Time was here for us to have this election. it did not come. The governor said he didn't have money from all they were saying then. And now
the governor, Madam Dota, the governor did.
CTC,
the governor,
which he actually did.
Madam Dota.
Now, he is ready for election. Court is saying as a judgment that it cannot work.
Madam Dota, the governor did not say.
That the governor should continue with his CTC that he was bent on doing. And forget about election. So that we have peace in our state. Of course, that is what the court of the land has said. Please let us obey the court.
All right, thank you, Madam Dota. The governor did not say at any time that they did not have money. Those were statements from supporters or people who were arguing in favor of not holding elections at the time. Is it Ken from Ubumini? Welcome. What is on your mind? I'd like to hear.
Good afternoon, Canada.
Yeah, good afternoon. Welcome.
In River State, if I should say Abuja Court and Port Harcourt High Court, if what is happening since last year politically in River State up to date, the substantial suit to determine where the former Speaker of River State House of Assembly, their fate, we are yet to know their fate. Is it Ken? So I'm not a lawyer, and so I don't fall into one lawsuit or the other. Can we say the assembly is led by, because they are claiming, Martin Ameole and co are claiming they have judgments that says they are lawmakers. So please, can we not say former and present, because there is no Supreme Court judgment on that for now, please, going forward. Okay, now my expression here is this.
All right.
Why is the Abuja court restraining again the forthcoming election after the High Court in Port Harcourt had given the order for them to conduct their election? After Tony Okocha's agitation for the governor to conduct election since last year, now this is the time for the election. Why are they still filing suit upon suit upon suit in order to see that Fubra, the governor of River State, will not succeed in having new elected chairman? This court or jurisdiction people or whatever thing they call themselves, they are settled confusion in River State.
Okay.
They are using River State as their part of having their daily bread. It is shameful to them to be citing problem in River State politics. Well to them.
All right, thank you. I've got to go if I can, but just to correct something. So, like some people have pointed out, the one from Abuja was a judgment. The case had been on for a while. Remember, Justice Peter Lifu had given the order for INEC not to give register to RISIEC and also to the police, the DSS and other security agencies not to provide security for RISIEC for the October the 5th election, right? Remember all of that. Okay, if you do. So now this is the judgment. This is the judgment because the order was pending the, how do they say it again? What's the legal term, the legal clause that they use, or is it a phrase? The order was pending the determination of the substantive suit, right? So, so now the judgment has come out. But you see, why it is conflicting is because I don't know if it's this morning, or if it was over the weekend, or if it was on Friday. But there was the request. I don't know who requested now because I have not seen the certified true copy. But there was a request to the state's High Court, to give INEC, or rather RISIEC, the permission to use the voters' register of 2023. Jude from Omuma, welcome, Jude. Let's get your thoughts and let's talk for development. I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, Canada, I'd like to talk on these court orders in Nigeria. The courts, or the judiciary as a whole, have been so ridiculed that before the international community, as we call them, the judiciary has become so messy. And I call on the judiciary, National Judicial Council, NBA, to do something now. Because it's becoming messy. It's like the court orders is like you go, anything you can just get from the shelves. You buy from this shelf, I go to another shelf, I buy. So in which country have you ever seen this kind of thing happen?
All right.
You know, you get this order from Abuja, you get the order from River State courts. But they're all under one umbrella. They're all being controlled by one body, the National Judicial Council. Are you saying that they're not working? Or are they enjoying this messy state of the judiciary? Is what do you call it, the Chief Justice of Nigeria? What is he doing? What is anybody that is in the judicial area? What are they? How do they see it? And that's why I say it's messy.
All right.
So let them do something. It's not. We call it drama, but many of us are not enjoying this drama. It's very shameful. In a country like this, you buy this order from this court, I go to another court, I buy. Where else have anybody seen this ridiculous state of our judiciary?
All right, Jude, have got to go. But thank you very much for your thoughts there. It calls it a ridicule. Judiciary has been ridiculed. He believes they're buying it. I may not agree with him, but Mufasa is calling from D-Line. Mufasa, welcome. What is on your mind?
Yeah, thank you very much, Kalada.
Yeah, welcome, Mufasa.
Now, could you let me appreciate what you did by making that valid correction? There was never any time the Rivers government said that there was no money to conduct election.
Okay.
I think people should be guided so that you don't misinform members of the public.
Let's get to your thoughts.
When Justice Kekereko was sworn in, she read the Riot Act to judicial officers. And I think one of the major reasons for doing so is to put a stop to situations like this. Now, what would anybody benefit if we don't have local government elections in Rivers State? But one thing I would say, and I've said it before, that on the 5th of October, there's going to be an election. The highest thing they would do is to tell the police people to still lock up the council secretariat. This judgment
Mufasa.
Go ahead, I can hear you.
I understand that in Rivers State now, I mean, apart from people like me, that many others are very much emotionally involved in, the political tension or political situation in this state. However, can we all remove ourselves from the emotionality and the sensations and look at these things from a developmental angle, like I always preach on the show? So if a court gives a judgment, are you saying irrespective whether you feel like grieved by the judgment or whether you feel like the judgment was bought or not, you would still go ahead with the election? Is that what you're saying on national radio?
Good. Thank you for that question. The RISIEC chairman, a retired judge, Justice Enebeli, said it, that no court has the power to stop any elections from holding. RISIEC, just like INEC, was created by the laws. So if he has said so, who am I to argue with a retired judge?
But Mufasa, some lawyers have said, yes, created by law, given, but, the court is the interpreter of the law. And if the court interprets the law as saying that you have followed the wrong process or you've done the wrong thing, what then can you say? And that's the question I'm asking you once again.
Okay, so now the implication of what they are doing now is going to be that Rivers State is going to be the only state without elected local government executives. When we have the Supreme Court judgment that say that all the states of the federation should have elected executives, chairmen in place to run the council. That was why I said that the highest they can do is to still manipulate the police, just as they have done before, to keep the council secretariat locked in perpetuity. Would that bring progress to Rivers State?
All right,
it is really unfortunate.
I've got to let you go, Mufasa. Thank you very much for being engaging. I've got Ida from Inkoro. Ida, welcome. Please tell me your thoughts. Yeah, welcome.
Canada, the Supreme Court judgment said that every state can do elections, and which the governor of Rivers State obey. But the Supreme Court is the highest court in Nigeria. Canada, people are talking about courts. Courts stop them not to do Congress in Rivers. Canada, the PDP did not do Congress. They went ahead and do Congress. So what is court order? No court order. Anybody respecting court order? Nobody is respecting court order.
But okay.
State Congress.
Okay.
They want to go and do National Congress. It's not court order that said that they should stop. People are talking about court order. Canada, if you don't provide police, Canada, I honorable, that is going to secure my local government. And other people will secure their local government. No fight was not Saturday. Everybody will come out and vote for candidate of their choice. Which has selected my candidate. That election is going to vote, and nobody, only God that can stop that election. No human can stop that election. Any they like, they bring any court order.
All right, thank you. No more. No. Okay, Ida, I've got to go. All right, thank you. I've got to go. I don't have enough time. It's almost time for the news, and it's almost time for what is it called now? For a commercial. So I'm just going to quickly read some messages, starting with what is on Facebook. And I've got Colicia Monday saying, I blame the judiciary for all this rascality. How can you study law, graduate? At the end of the day, you allow politicians to use you against the common citizens. Of what use has Nigerians benefited from the judiciary? You know, someone, I think it was Justice Jubilee Wokoro that said last week that if a bad person becomes a lawyer, it does not make a good person, right? Well, I've got Ogu Ojon Justice on Facebook saying it is laughable that lawyers don't know the elementary laws. How can State High Court order RISIEC to conduct the election, and the lawyer, instead of going to appeal court, ran to the same court of coordinate jurisdiction? Shows that they are not serious. RISIEC will carry on with the election. Actually, they did not run. Justice Peter Lifo had been on that matter for a while. This one says, court orders in Rivers State is a joke. They don't file to vacate court orders. Just go to your own court and get your own court order and continue your illegality. Sam E. Ekera says. And Newton Ikera, it touched on the first big story saying the Nigerian judiciary has been turned into a comic theater. Nigerians, Ms. Gani, fire me. Justice is now for the bidder, the highest one, he said. And he says, I cry, the beloved country. And then to the second big story, he says commendable. To the third big story, he says knowing their antecedents, and I shudder on behalf of the hungry masses. But a coward will always point at the grave of the brave. May Nigerians work for us all. Well, I think he meant Nigeria may work for us all. And thank God, I believe that people says our judicial system need total overhauling. Some judges are embarrassing our judicial system with conflicting judgments. Okay. I've read Ogu Ojun Justice comes back to say, shame on the president to have allowed somebody to, the president is not in charge of the judiciary, so I'm going to stop reading that. So maybe I should just quickly say this. Government as you know it, is broken down into three arms. The executive is not just government, right? There is the legislative government, which are the lawmakers. They are government as well. And there is the judiciary. The judiciary is also a government, and it's independent of the executive and the legislative. It's not supposed to be controlled. It's not supposed to be manipulated or handled or whatever it is by any of the other arms of government. Now, there is the check and balance. So each arm is supposed to check the other, right? So there is the check and balance. Anyways, I just thought I'd mention that. So when you say Tinubu should, control the judiciary, he's got no check and balance. He could remove the Chief Justice, and that's the best he can do, right? This one says no court can stop the RISIEC from conducting election. The Supreme Court in a judgment has directed all states to conduct LJ elections. Finally, courts of coordinate jurisdiction cannot override another. Saturday election is sacrosanct. For Ernest from Onelga. Pi Festu says, good afternoon, Mr. Kalada. I can see that our judicial system are allowing themselves to be used as a punishing bag by the politicians. Why all the conflicting judgments flying left, right, and center while they are all relying on the same constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to give their judgments? These all hula baloos are really making the judicial system seem like a laughingstock in the Committee of Nations. So I'm thinking, what if Rivers State, what if we do this, right? Now, I know some of you already have your sides, What if we all come together, irrespective of sides, and write to the National Judicial Council saying, we don't understand, there is the order, there is this judgment. When we look at the order, we look at the judgment, they are conflicting, and they are from courts of equal rights and equal jurisdiction, right? So can we please touch on this matter, because we have a plethora of court cases on the same matter. So maybe we could all come together, pen our signatures, and write to the National Judicial Council, irrespective of what political leanings you belong to. You could be for this or that, irrespective. All right, Jimbo Baraye Caribon Nelson says on Facebook, it's highly worrisome the way politics is being played in Rivers State. The number of court processes, cases, and Fubara's Wala with his former beloved political leadership is a serious threat, insecurity, and it's underdeveloping our once peaceful state because of selfish gains and lack of moral leadership in our state. God save us from anti-democratic forces so that there will be peace and development. Peace is paramount to all. Jimbo Baraye Karibo Nelson. All right, thank you very much. So I'm going to focus on WhatsApp now. Melody Unipod, my people say that the ugly face of the he-goats can't stop the native doctor from using it for sacrifice. The antics of political merchandise can't stop the election. All the political actors were graduates of Wikerism. As such, they are all preempting one another with the weapon of court orders. That's why even the RISIEC commissioner beat them in their game by collecting election materials before now. APP in the same vein is being proactive to avoid any legal K-leg in future. It's like the game theory. If PDP can get a counter court order to conduct Congress, or you say if PDP can get a counter court order to conduct PDP Congress, APP can do even better. The joke is on the judiciary, who has devalued court orders the way they devalued the Naira. All right, interesting commentary there. I've got a lot, yeah. This one says judicial to zero. What is one? This one says the court didn't stop the election from holding, but asked not to release the material elections code and will stop it. No, I did not say the court. I only asked what's his name? I only asked Mufasa that if a court says, I use the word if a court says, right? And then this one says on the protest tomorrow, the police should be professional and those protesting shouldn't take laws into their hands. Police should stop threatening the masses. Let the protest be peaceful. Nicholas Erasmus, thank you very much. And this one says, federal civil servants receive 70,000 naira as minimum wage. This is okay, but considering cost of a bag of rice in Nigeria, the 70,000 naira is not important any longer. Court orders INEC not to release voters register to RISIEC. For me, INEC would have updated the voters registers before now so that those who will be in their 18 or who will be 18 years this year will not be disenfranchised. I want to tell Clinton West. A lot of messages pouring in, but I've got to go for the time being. This is on Rivers election. This is an act of oppression and anarchy. Why can't a court from Abuja, or why can a court from Abuja meddle with issues in Port Harcourt and asking police not to protect its citizens? It's rather unfortunate. Joe from Port Harcourt. And this one says 90 days must be given before election. This is the bone of contention, all right? Anima Otaka in Choba says, I keep saying as I read in my undergraduate days, every system has in it that thing that is capable of destroying it. My fear is that the thing in Nigeria that is likely to destroy it may just be the judiciary. Thinking out loud. It's 4 o'clock and it's time for the business news. To stay tuned.